Welcome back. In this video, we are going to see what's a string, what are the basic terminologies we use to represent a string, and finally, we are going to see what are the operations we can do with a string. So, as you know, string is nothing but it's a collection of characters. So, the characters include alphabets, which includes digit and special characters. So it's a character set used to communicate with a computer. We call it as a string. So we can say that it's a finite set of zero or more characters put together. We call it as a string. So normally, for every string, we can find the length, which is nothing but the number of characters. And there are cases where a string can be an empty one. We call it as a null string. So we can do different operations with the strings that we are going to see in the next video. So next is let us see how we can represent a string in C. There are different ways by which we can represent, and we only focus on how do we represent a string in C. So normally every string is terminated with a null character. If you look at the screen where you can find a string called dog, let me take D or G are taken, and end or the no, it is terminated with a null character. To take a house, see how it is written. So H is going to get the index value 0 and E is going to get index value 4, and which is terminated with a null character. So please remember the strings are represented as character arrays and which is terminated with a null character. So this is another way of declaring a string. So you need not to give the size for a string. So size will be taken by your computer, but you have to give the string as it is. That should be inside a double quote, and double quote should be enclosed within a brace. And if you look at the first one, we have taken a string called dog, and that is stored in a array called S. So this is going to be D, this is going to be O, and this is going to be G, and as I told, the string will get terminated with a null character. Again for the second one, so this is going to be T, index value 0, we have 1 2 3 4, so this is going to be H, this is O, U, S, E, and the last is going to be a null character. This is the way we declare a string. Now let us see how we can now store the strings. What are different ways by which we can store? One is we can have a fixed length structure. Second one is a variable length structure, and third is going to be a link structure. There are three different ways by which we can store a string. Let me repeat. One is the fixed one. Second one is variable, and third one is going to be a link structure. Let us see this one by one. So record oriented fixed length, that means each record accommodates the same number of characters. So you can see all these are the strings, I mean all these are the records which all have the same number of characters. We are neither able to increase the size nor we can decrease. So second one is a variable length structure. So what we do is once the string is over, we are going to store a special character. Normally we use a special character which is a double dollar sign after every string gets sent, so that we can start storing the next string. So which is a variable length. So there is another way of doing it. What we do is we are going to take additional item in the pointer array, which is going to give you the number of characters. So for every string, what is the number of characters? So this will be stored as an additional item in the pointer array. So this is going to be the pointer array. which is going to give you the number of characters or the length of a string. So this is about variable length. And the last one is link storage. So what we do is we are going to represent uh, in the form of a linked list. So everyone knows what is a list and what is a link. So every node will have the address of the next node, as you could see here. So we are going to store this character by character. So this is the first node, so where t is the information, and the second part will have the address of the next character. So next, the next. So this is what one character per node. This can be on different, not different ways. So you can have a node with more than one characters. But if you look at this example, where we can have where we have only a single character. So if you look at this, where we have four characters, characters in a node. So this also have four. This is having four. This is having four. This is four. Four character per node. So this is another way of representing it. So next is about the string operations. So what all things we can do with the strings. So we can join two strings. We call it as a string cat. It's a library inbuilt function. Whenever you feel like whenever you want to join two strings, you can make use of this. So if you want to join only few characters from the two different strings, we can use another function called strncat, which is going to concatenate a given number of characters. Next is you can compare two strings. So we have a function called strcmb, where which is going to concatenate. So when you concatenate, which is going to return three kinds of value. One is less than 0. The first string is lesser than the second string, which is going to return a value which is lesser than 0. If both the strings are equal, so please remember that your string is going to return a 0 value, and the first string is greater than second string. So your function strcmb is going to return a value which will be greater than 0. So please remember, strcmb is a inbuilt function which is going to compare two strings and which can give you three possible values. One is a value which is less than 0 or equal to 0 or greater than 0. Same way we have another function called strncmb, which is going to compare the first 10 characters. Think that you have two strings. With the first string there are 100 characters, in the second string there are 200 characters. So you want to compare only first 10 characters in both the strings. So this function is going to help you out. Next is strcpy, which is going to copy from source to destination. We have strncpy, which is going to copy n characters from source to destination. So next is strlen. So it's a function which is going to give you the number of characters in a given string. strlen. There is another function called strrchr. So which is going to return pointer to the first occurrence of C in S. First occurrence of C in S. So this C can be any character. Think that you want to find a character in a given string, and let me say the character is A. So you want to find a character called A in a given string. So with this function is going to help you out. Same way we have strrchr, return pointer to the last occurrence of character. Remember this, strchr is going to give you the first occurrence and strrchr is going to give you the last occurrence. So same way we have strcspn, scan S for characters not in span set. We know what is span set. So which is going to scan S for characters. Same way we have strpbrk, scan S for characters in span set. First one will first is going to scan for characters in non span set, and this is going to check for characters or scan for characters in a span set. So these are different functions, different operations we can perform in a string. So please remember all the functions right from strcat to strpbr.